Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Today's topic is feeling down. If you're feeling tired these days, if you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling like there may be heavier energy, or you may feel like just not very excited, not very energized. This is a message for anyone who feels like that. So sometimes when we feel like we just don't want to do much or we're feeling down, many people start to search outside reasons for that or astrological reasons for that. But the truth about astrological reasons is that planetary positions never truly affect you to feel like being exhausted or being really without any drive or energy. Sometimes, because of certain planetary positions, you may feel more driven, like motivated externally, and sometimes there's energy that may make you feel like to be more introverted, to be a bit slower and really more in tune with yourself. So it's not that you feel exhausted because of these energies, it's because you're kind of swimming against the curve of nature, against the stream of nature, that you feel like that. So if you imagine yourself like a huge jar of water, and now imagine that each distraction or everything you do in your life creates one hole into this jar. Like you grab your phone, start scrolling a little bit, it's one hole. You talk with someone, it's another hole. You do certain things, it's another hole. You think about what you want to do and you don't do it, another hole. You get into a fight, another hole. Your job, another hole. Certain other things, and suddenly you have a jar with so many holes, so many potential options that is just making this jar slowly drain out of any water. And at some point you find yourself being completely empty, dry. And that's when you feel like your life is just not working your way. And then there are certain astrological events, and in the collective there's more chaos present right now because we're just living in a time of information where there's so many impulses, so many external impulses that we just don't know what is right and what can be helpful, or we may have a fear of missing out the right information and we want to catch up with everything, which is another great way to exhaust ourselves. So the present energy is quite interesting because tomorrow we'll have a new moon in Pisces, a lot of Pisces energy, as yesterday's video is all about that. You can go and watch it. The present energy is to be introverted. Why? So you really listen to yourself. And to listen to yourself, I don't mean poetic, like listen to your heart or whatever. I mean to really sit down with your body and sit down for 1 hour, just in quietness. Just in quietness, sit down and see what will come up. Your body will say something to you. Or maybe you will just fall asleep because you will notice that you are really exhausted and you need to sleep much more. So you will notice that you truly have many answers within. And when it comes to basic needs, your body will tell you everything. It will tell you, like, do you need more adventure? Do you need more joy? Do you need to do more things that make you happy? Or do you just need to really sleep more? Really just recharge the battery? Or maybe you need to remove the things that are making holes in the jar. This is one of the most important things most people need to make right now, like to really cut things out of your life that are making holes into that jar, Like maybe cut certain people out of your life, cut certain habits out of your life, cut certain behaviors out of your life, cut certain beliefs out of your life. Activities that are just making you feel more lazy, less organized. Because you may notice that it's not what you do right now, it's more of a momentum that it feeds when you're doing something. You know, it's always a momentum that is happening. And if the momentum is destructive, at some point you need to stop it and start moving into other direction, which requires clarity. And clarity can only happen when you notice that your jar is actually your responsibility, right? You notice, okay, my jar has so many holes, it's completely empty, dry, and I need to fill it up once again with the life force, right? But if I want to make this jar complete, I need to make sure that it will not be, you need to kind of fill up these holes. It's sometimes a form of healing, emotional healing, change in mindset, boundaries, and making wiser decisions. Like really sitting down and making sure, maybe it's not hundreds of methods that I want to try in my life. Maybe it's one method that I will devote myself for a few months and see where it will take me. Like Bruce Lee said, I'm not afraid of a fighter who's practiced 1,000 different kicks. I'm afraid of a fighter who's practiced one kick 1,000 times. It's about consistency and persistency with one method that can change your life. So the biggest challenge of this present time is that every single day you can come across a new method, a new solution, a new information, a new way to manifest, a new tool to shift your life, a new way to enhance your longevity and health and sleep and brain health and so on, which is so amazing, like so many new information about how to improve our lives. But at the same time, it's quite a distraction because there's so many new tools, so many new practices, right? So it's really about the ability, which one speaks to you, and then be devoted to it. Like instead of watching 1,000 different podcasts, maybe find one person that really speaks to you. And then really practice what he says and see if it works. It's not a challenge of just this time. Even in ancient times, they had similar challenges. Like people were just jumping from one teacher to another. And those people never mastered anything. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't study different things. I think you should. Like you could diversify your life. But make sure it's not like from one day to another you're doing different, like hundreds of different things. That's another way how to exhaust yourself, because you're running away from your own truth. Life is not so complicated. And when you recognize that you are the source, you truly are the source. But if you're constantly jumping out of your source to another source, to someone else, you will start to think that other people are smarter than you and you don't know enough. And if you think you don't know enough, or that you are not smart, or that maybe even you're stupid, you don't believe in yourself, or you have a lack of self-worth, you may even think that you're hopeless, that you're helpless, that you can't do anything. So the reminder is to notice that you are the source. And you can only understand that if you sit down with yourself and notice how much you truly already know. And what happens if you give an ear to your inner voice. If you choose to listen what your body has to say, and even what your soul has to say, you will notice there's a lot of wisdom coming from within. But usually when we sit down, we don't hear our hearts, we hear our mind, our thoughts. But it's very helpful because you may notice how many different subjects will come in. That's when you come across the results of your distractions. You will notice how many things are constantly running in your mind, and your body is only reflecting what's happening in your mind. That's why you may feel so overwhelmed. That's why it's so helpful to listen to your mind as well, to notice, well, if you will sit for enough time, even your mind will calm down. If you come back to breathing, if you come back to this present moment, even your mind at some point will quit. Yesterday, I've read this quote that really moved me. It said, I need to stop sowing the seeds of my own destruction. And I think so many people can relate to that because so many of us may be really sowing the seeds of our own destruction. So many people may be constantly doing what they don't want to do. And so many of us may be addicted to doing what we don't want to do. Even addicted to emotions like complaining, gossiping, feeling sorry for ourselves, or blaming others, blaming other things, even blaming planets, planetary positions for feeling that way. You see, nature doesn't work against you, but you often work against it. Nature only does its thing. It evolves. It flows. It is constantly changing. It's the nature of nature. But if you don't evolve, if you don't change, if you don't flow, it means you're trying to swim against the stream. And therefore, you may often feel exhausted because it is exhausting. It's quite painful, isn't it? So the problem is lack of clarity, constant distraction. And we need to get back to the source within, like to this moment, to recognize, okay, I am again distracting myself. I am again sowing the seeds of my own destruction. And I will stop doing that. So at some point, we need to identify what we don't want to do anymore if we want to become a new version of ourselves, right? So many of us want to kind of become a certain ideal version of us, which is again another trap, because you will often feel you're not there yet, so you will not feel good enough. You may feel even unworthy. So what's the point is that you just recognize what you don't want to do anymore. And if you really believe into the idea that you are the creator of your life, let's look at the science. Science says atom is made out of 99.9999999% of energy. And energy is a combination of vibration, which is like a force, and light and information. So that's what energy is. So basically, you're more of this mystical force and light and information than who you think that you are. So from one sense, you're more unconditional, infinite possibility than a conditional identity. Which means that out of infinite different possibilities you could manifest yourself, you've conditioned yourself into a certain identity that's now thinking, doing, and feeling certain way most of the time. And this is how you call yourself now. This is you. But you're made out of this infinite force that, as science says now, is like a manifestation of infinite field. Some call it a divine matrix, divine mind, from which things manifest and they follow our intention. So that's why in quantum physics there's an effect of an observer. An act of observer always creates something that is possible to see. So everything follows your attention. Wherever you place your attention, you place your energy, and that's what you're feeding. So the process of change is really stop placing your attention so much on what you don't want to do anymore, how you don't want to feel anymore, how you don't want to treat yourself anymore. So you stop sowing the seeds of your own destruction and you start focusing more on what you want. Like you really create clarity in your life. This is what I really accept. Like this is what I really allow myself to do. And these are the things that are from my past. And eventually this new program that you're designing for yourself will become your new nature. Like when you install it on the computer, in your life you install it through repetition and practice. So you slowly start becoming a different you. And it's all about the quality of what you're doing, right? And the quality can be determined by how it makes you feel. Like when you do something good for yourself, how does it make you feel? When you say some truthful and kind words to yourself, how does it make you feel? When you do something that you really love to do, how does it make you feel? And at the same time, if you do something that is not healthy for you, how does it make you feel? And you find the truth, you find the quality of whatever you're doing. So this present time is very interesting because it is kind of encouraging you to be a bit more introverted and really listen to your own needs, really listen what is coming up to you. That's why if you're swimming against the stream and constantly just blaming other things for you feeling like that, you're just not doing any favor to yourself. In other words, you're maybe just, you don't want to change. But what this time is really encouraging you is to pay more attention to what you wanted to do with your life. And so many people have ignored this sense for such a long time that they don't even feel it anymore. But the solution is really deep listening. Like sit down for 1 hour if you need. Or maybe even 2 hours. Or maybe lay down. Make sure that you don't fall into sleep. But even in your dreams these days you may experience many answers. So pay attention to that. We've been talking in yesterday's video more about the details of this present energy. So make sure that you really listen and then devote yourself to be so true to yourself that you will actually say, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm really happy with what I'm doing. So my friends, I hope you found great value in today's video. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. And thanks to anyone for choosing to support my art. I really appreciate you for that. You can find all of my art on AttractPassion.com. If you will use the code PASSION15, you will get 15 off on your first order. And to anyone who would love to work with me one-on-one, you can book a calling in on the link in the description. So check it out, and I'm excited to meet you. So till next time, one love.